Hey guys, it was about 7 years ago. I had a really.
It's about 7 years ago. We thought about it.
7 years ago.
I bought my first air compressor.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see it's still running well.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna find out what the fuck. So guys, it was about 7 years ago. My buddy Wesley Geer, hi Wesley, he came to visit me at Lido Live, and you were going to play at my venue, but I don't know what went on, but we were doing Rock to Recovery.
Rock to Recovery, yeah.
That's what we were talking about.
Well, I walked in and you were wearing a tutu and had a feather duster, and I just was like...
But I did look good.
You looked amazing.
Yeah.
Did that to you too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was only in my nightmares. We saw that image.
It is kind of my thing, okay?
But your office was really clean, and that's what I really appreciated.
That was a sweet office.
That was, yeah.
So the green room, all white leather, fur carpets. Oh, it was
Faux
insane.
fur.
Yeah.
Faux fur.
And then the wallpaper was velvet lions. It was pretty crazy. The chandeliers were red chandeliers. It was
The kind of office you walk into and you're like, you know what? I gotta go get something in my car.
Yeah. Well,
I'll be right back, I swear.
it kind of did two things. It was the green room
Yeah.
for Lido, and then also the offices.
It was actually modeled after Joe Pesci's bedroom.
Very true, very true. Hey, Joe, sorry, man. I didn't rat you out. Wesley knew. So what's going on now? What are you up to?
Well, I started this music program that you alluded to, Rock to Recovery, in an effort to help proliferate the use of playing music as a healing, transformative force in the world. I'm a sober guy.
Right.
I'm not shy about that fact. And
How long have you been sober?
15 years.
Nice.
By some miracle, yeah. You know, for those of you at home that don't know, I played in a band called Head PE, had a record deal, toured with 10 years. We played with Deftones, Slipknot, Korn, all these bands of the 90s. We, System of a Down, played clubs together. Crashed and burned, ended up in a rehab. Got sober as a result of getting sober. That's how I got the gig playing guitar with Korn. And then when that gig was coming to an end, I was kind of like going to be yet another broke out of work musician. And so I was basically, it's like, okay, if I'm supposed to be sober, otherwise I'd be dead, and a musician, how do I help people and, make a difference in the world? That was kind of no musician ever wants to make, a difference. They want you to buy black t-shirts and CDs or check out your MySpace page or whatever. So
What's a CD?
Yeah. Scan my QR code.
I miss
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I do too.
The warehouse or something, and just for hours, just perusing,
Vinyl.
Yeah.
Going through the racks.
Vinyl's the only tangible music, I don't know what to call it, that actually the sales have been increasing. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's been coming back. Big time.
Physical music
What
product.
There's a lot of records.
Well, it's cool, man. That whole record thing. You look at a record and you used to open it up and it have great artwork. I mean, there was a lot that went in on that.
I used to stare at my Iron Maiden albums for a long time because if you had Number of the Beast, there was little figures down in the fire, like, oh, look at it, and then a couple of them were having sex. You had to look really deeply.
I'm absolutely a victim of vinyl fever, though. I mean, I just picked up 2 at a concert I went to up in Seattle recently, and I think there's something comforting about being trapped with the progression of the album and the music the way the artist intended.
Totally.
Rather than a shuffle or a skip option, you've got to sit there and kind of work through the way y'all thought it through,
So, Wesley, you were with Korn for what, 3 years?
A few years, yeah. I'll call it a few because then I don't have to think so
Then you
hard.
don't have to worry about it.
That sounds right, a few. Gives me, leisure on the other side.
And that's when you made all the changes is after Korn, right?
No, before Korn. So when I got sober, this is I like to share, and you could apply this to any stories. My brain made up all these, ideas about what sobriety was going to be like. You can't do music anymore and be sober, and whose brain doesn't make up lies based on what? Some false version of the future. And actually, Korn reached out to me because they wanted somebody who was sober.
Right.
And that's how I got that gig. Actually, my name came up years before, and I had a bad reputation for being a loady drug addict, so I got passed over, and then my name came up again. It was like, no, he's sober now. So then we met and jammed, and I got the gig, and so got to tour around the world totally sober and do it that way, which
And enjoy it.
yeah, enjoy it. But I also found out when people used to ask me, "Don't you get stage fright performing?" No, I was, well, yeah, because I drink half a bottle of Jack before I played. When I got out with Korn, and now it's not my band, and I'm performing their legendary songs for 80,000 people, I was like, "Oh, I guess I do have a little stage fright."
You bet.
Okay, let's go. So that was cool. But to be present to it all, and one memory I remember is there's Rock am Ring and Rock im Park, which are two of the biggest festivals, and they're in Germany. And we played it with Head, my first band, in I want to say 2000, and we played it like 2 PM or whatever.
I always wondered what it's Head PE, right?
Yeah, I'm great at coming up with horrible names, and Head was our band name. And for those of you that don't know at home, when you're getting signed as a band, there's a legal department and a record label that'll make sure you're not violating any copyrights or going to run into trouble in the marketplace. So there's Head, an amplifier company, and Head, a bicycle company or something. They thought we'd have problems, so like, you got to change the name. Well, we loved our name Head. It was just HED. And then we were out recording in Longview, Massachusetts, and on mushrooms and methamphetamine. And I remember thinking, well, there's like UK subs, Mission UK. We're into all this weird alien shit. We'll be Head from planet Earth, Head PE. You got Run DMC, Head PE. Didn't think it was a big deal. The problem is when you'd be out talking to people, "Oh, you're in a band? What's the name of your band?" It's Head PE. You have herpes? I'm sorry, what'd you say? And so that was kind of a problem, for us. But that's how that went.
Well, you come up with weird names. That's just
I know.
That's your MO, man.
I don't mean to. I'm just weird, is what it is, and I probably think people are much more. Yeah, weird is normal, right? Yeah.
It's sure not sitting in this studio right now.
I mean, I don't know if you saw this guy over here, this guy right here.
In the tutu. They have experienced it.
Can't you see Hammer in a pink tutu, nothing else, and a pink feather duster?
Stop doing that to me, please.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you would like a copy, I'll autograph it, and just send me $29.95, and we're
There
great.
you go.
Yeah.
There you
Comes
go.
with your own pint size of gasoline to get rid of the thing, too.
And can we add a boner pill to that also, because we do have a few left.
They're definitely going to need that. That's going to be a problem after seeing that image.
This is great. I'm glad we could be truthful here.
Yeah. So I think, Wesley, what people want to know, I mean, the Rock to Recovery thing is super cool.
Yeah.
And I really want to get into that, but tell me about the new weird spelling of the new band.
Okay, yeah, we're called Human, and this is where I really fucked it up again. But there's so many band names out there, but I saw the two words together, hue, like color, because I'm into the weird hippie stuff. Like, everything's a frequency, right? Everything's a vibration. The entire universe is frequency and vibration. So I liked hue, and then men, plural. So hue, men. And then I decided brilliantly to change the E's to 3s, so we couldn't be fucked with in terms of, nobody has that, of course. But again, it's a little bit challenging. If you go to Spotify, though, we got songs out. Just put HU3, you'll find us.
Right.
But it's a little confusing for some of you out there, but that's how you do it. Yeah. So we're called Human, and we're kind of like a Muse, Radiohead. We're fusing a little bit of 80s synth goth stuff with some heavy rock. Our singer has a beautiful voice, almost sounds like a girl sometimes. He just has a very androgynous, angelic voice, so it's fun to write with that. 'Cause
Sweet.
Head was, my singer was, we were doing hip hop and rap and hardcore, so this is kind of going in a different direction.
How do you feel about it? Is this?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, and I think sometimes, fans maybe want to hear the same record over and over. Why don't you do
sure.
like your first? It's like, I did that. You know what I mean? The wife and I have done Missionary for, the last 5 years. We're going to try a little doggy style over here, and maybe a little reverse cowgirl. You want to change it up. I'm using sexual metaphors here. Yeah, but I'm not married, by the way. Is it this one?
Yeah, she was happy. Not.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
But it also actually the story is that I met Matt in a rehab, and you have to go in the direction that his voice essentially takes us, and so it's fun to just go in a new direction.
So Rock to Recovery, what's going on with that right now? That's your main passion.
It's my main passion. It keeps me super busy. So the idea was to, when I was in rehab, we did yoga. We drew pictures with crayons, and that's deemed therapeutic, but there wasn't music. And what would happen is I'm there in a room with 22 guys, right? There's the 70-year-old drunk mailman and the, tweaker kid and the junkie kid and whatever. And there's shame and guilt and anxiety, all these energies in there. And I noticed that I would just hit like one chord on my acoustic guitar and the energy in the room would transform. Because we're so raw, we're in residential treatment, you can't leave. I mean, you can, but you can't as part of the program. And so that stuck with me. So when the Korn gig was going away, I'm really into meditation and like getting into, manifestation and the universal downloads that I get. It was like, maybe I can take music into treatment centers. So the program I came up with was to go in there and write songs with non-musicians. So basically what I figured out to do is I could take everybody in this room, whether you played an instrument or not, we'll check in on some level of emotional topic we have, pull out stuff that's real to us, and then write and perform a song. We'll all learn instruments together and then record it at the end of one session, so like an hour or two, depending. And
How badass fun would that be?
That's such a killer concept.
Yeah, that's so cool.
But here's the thing, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a therapist, and so it was just an idea, like kind of a stupid idea, if you will. And one of the gifts I got from the universe, like, okay, before I launched it, I was like, is this gonna work? My brother's a very successful, hobby musician and entrepreneur. He's like, you're gonna try to write a song how's that gonna work? I'm like, oh, you're right, it's probably not gonna work,
I have no idea.
But
people that write the best, when they do their best work, it's when they're like the most fucked up, right?
You're raw.
You're
You're
really emotional and you draw.
It's
from
raw.
it, right?
Right.
you got something to draw from.
Not necessarily like chemically fucked up.
No,
but like processing their
Emotionally.
shit, right?
Emotional
Yeah.
fucked up,
Yeah.
where you finally kind of come to Jesus moment or whatever. You
Yeah,
start to really
absolutely.
evaluate what. I think that's when the rawness comes out.
The rawness comes out, and we help them there. And I like to tell people, because we have a whole spiel we do to get people to buy in, because a lot of them are like, I don't play. Why you got a bunch of instruments here? This ain't going to work for me. But what I like to say is that pop culture stole music from the layperson, because if you think where music came from, it was tribal, it was worship. People got around a campfire and sang. They weren't like,
Absolutely.
Hey, Bob, you're out of key. You know what I mean? We did it to express. And somehow it's like now, if you're not Beyonce or Bruno Mars, you're not musical. Oh, I missed that one.
Did you think one of the tribal guys' name was Bob? I love that.
No, but think about it.
That's what they call him for short.
He's Robert, but
Yeah, he still likes Robert. But think about it. Back in the day when the TV or no radio, none of that. That's what families did. They hung out and sang songs together.
Seriously, on the back porch.
Right. Get the banjo out and go.
Absolutely. It's a expression that humanity has used for a long time. But so I was going to say, what happened in one of my first sessions, even though I was terrified and didn't have we're 10 years deep. I started this on 12/12 of 2012. One of the first sessions, a guy came in late and he was a junkie and he's like, what the fuck, I'm a junkie, I'm probably gonna die on the streets. I came to this rehab, what are you doing, musical instruments? How is this gonna fucking help me? He was losing it and he was dope sick. And if you don't know about being dope sick, it's like, COVID times a million and you can't control your bladder and you can't sleep and it's really bad. And I just got on a buy-in. I said, we're actually writing a song about, being overpowered by our addiction and how we're going to beat it. And he started buying in because he could relate. We've been in this fight together. And all I had, I call him the story of Mr. Pink, because all I had was this little pink egg shaker, and I said, here's the verse, here's the chorus, we got a little break here, and here's how you do the shaker. And a few minutes in, he's like, wait, okay, so the verse goes 3 times, and then we stop, and then I'm going to do, okay, cool. By the end, And again, this is a guy who was suicidal. He's like, oh, that was amazing. You're going to be here next week. And I was like, what fucking drug does that in an hour you can feel what they call clinically measures of wellness and hope, and you're looking forward to the future. And what I like to say is, as we go through life, all of us, think about when you're 5 years old in the cereal aisle of the supermarket and you're like, yeah, they're just doing weird shit 5-year-olds do. Oh, you don't care.
Sugar.
Yeah, you're just free.
Yeah.
We go through life, we get hurt, we get our heart broken, we get picked on, all these things that happen to every human, and our little childlike playful spirit gets encased in this hard stone. And then with addiction, it's even worse. But when we get into this musical place, we're brought into the moment and we're just cracking into that childlike raw expression again. You know what I mean? And it shows us that part of us is still alive.
Unapologetically yourself and creative, and it's almost like a misdirection in your mind where you're not thinking about everything that's fucked up. You're just thinking of how fun this is. And
yeah.
You're in the moment.
Right.
Yeah, we call it dose because now what we know, being more educated in the work we do, is that when you listen to music, which you ask anybody, hey, music's pretty magical, right? Oh yeah, man. Well, listening to music engages half your brain, and playing music is very unique because it engages both sides of your brain. It's both motor function and the emotional creative side. And so what it does is it naturally stimulates the release of dopamine, D, oxytocin, O, serotonin, S, and endorphins, E. Dose. So it's a natural dose. And oxytocin, by the way, is what's called the love molecule. It's released when you hug somebody or you feel bonded and connected to people. And so when we're in dark places, mental health, we work with wounded warriors, addiction, you feel very lost, misunderstood, not understood, and alone. And this helps people feel connected.
So Rock to Recovery, you can do that for almost anything.
You can do it for anything. And so we started in addiction because that's where I was, but now we've worked with at-risk youth and addicted mothers. And like I said, we got a contract now with the Department of Defense. We work with wounded warriors and their caregivers because they get sick too, like the healthy wife who's taking care of the combat veteran, and then the children.
They get beat down.
Oh man, yeah. And so it's turned into this thing. We now do 600 sessions a month. We're integrated, because most people don't understand the model. We're integrated as part of the weekly treatment curriculum of treatment programs, like ones for wounded warriors or VAs or residential treatment or behavioral disorders. We work with Newport Academy a lot with teens.
Did you ever think that was going to happen, that you're going to end up on this track?
No, I think you always dream about, maybe being a musician, you dream things could go big, but no, there's kind of Trent, maybe you could be big, but you're like, hell no, I never thought it could be this big and transpire in ways that it has. And the other thing that's been just incredibly fulfilling for me is, my brother that I mentioned, the brilliant entrepreneur. I was like, dude, I got like $3,000 in receivables now, look, wow. And he's like, that's cool. Can you scale it? And I was like, oh yeah, can I scale it?
Exactly.
And then so I was like, who can I show this? I was like, wait, I got some homies I used to tour with, or friends that are incredible musicians, also sober, and I started training people in the methodology, and now we have like 20 people who were in Nashville, Portland, up and down California, from Frisco to the Mexican border, and it's a thing.
So is it profitable? Was he right? Did you scale it properly?
We're scaling it, yeah. So I started as a nonprofit, and what happened is we found such a calling for it in the for-profit business model of rehabs and stuff that people actually wanted to pay us for it. So I have 2 entities. We have the nonprofit, so we can donate services to state-funded places or VAs that just will never have money for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we can keep our books clean, and we have the for-profit stuff, so all the people who are like, yeah. And then I take a chunk of that money and help fund the nonprofit. And then we started having events. So now we do this thing called the Rock to Recovery. It's a concert, and we'll honor sober musicians who'll come tell their story. And you'll relate to this, so we're like, let's have an event. And I rented out the Fonda, which holds 1,300 people.
All right.
And we're like, how the hell are we going to fill up the Fonda? Tickets were not moving so fast, and I thought, rehabs take their clients on outings, like let's go to the beach and hike and get out for today. I started asking them, you want to bring them to this rock recovery concert? It'll be sober. Yeah, we do. So now what you have is we had Mike Ness at our first one, singer of Social Distortion, on stage accepting our award going, there would never have been a Social Distortion if I didn't stop shooting dope. Half of the 1,300 sold out crowd is actively in treatment. So if you imagine you're a junkie on the street one day, you're like, okay, fine, I'll go to fucking treatment. Then they're like, hey, we're going on an outing Saturday. And Saturday you're like, this is a fucking concert with my punk rock idol up there telling me that this is the way to a better life. So that's been another magical happening. And did I ever think of that? No.
No. Of course not.
Hell no.
And I remember when you came up to the office, that's what we were talking about, is at you guys playing there, having an event there. We never worked it out.
That was before we ever had our first event. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, totally.
You were still just in the early stages.
Just the idea stage. And what I like to say too, for anybody listening to this, maybe you're like, well, I'm not sober, I don't do music. It's kind of, there's also an overarching message of what is possible if you just take the steps, if you invite the universe in, if we're out there trying to help people, how the community embraces you,
Well, we had a show earlier today. We had Mike Thompson, RV. I'm sure I got that right this time, right, Mike? He's in the audience.
Is that the Mike Thompson?
that's Mike. But a bunch of the guys that work there are in recovery and have been doing it for 15, 20 years, whatever it's been.
Yeah.
And their life is just amazing now,
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. When we go to consider sobriety or recovery or whatever, we have this muted version of how bad it is and how much it's affecting our life, right? And however bad you think it is, if you actually do get sober, you're like, wow, I was actually a lot crazier than I thought. But that's not even it. What we don't realize is, for example, using my own story, I started smoking weed every hour, every day when I was 14 on. So 14 until I think I got sober at 35 or 38. I had never seen my true potential. And so there was like
You thought that was giving you potential when it wasn't. It
yeah,
was taking it from
it
you.
definitely helped me play guitar for long periods of time. So I'm glad I got to take acid and mushrooms and Molly and do all that crazy stuff and unlock those parts of my brain. But for me now, it will be deadly to continue. But the reason why I was doing that was because I didn't want to feel, because I had anxiety, because I had unprocessed emotions. I had some traumas, not like poor me, but we all have emotional traumas, those heartbreaks, the dad was never there, whatever, that stuff that happens when we're kids. We're like, what? No big deal. And then you go to a therapist, you're like, oh shit, this has been fucking with me my whole life and I didn't even know it.
I'm screwed up. Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's not screwed up. It's coping mechanisms we create to get through life. So we get in recovery, we put down the sauce or the drugs, and then we can start cracking open, the other aspects of our life.
That's it, man. Hey guys, we got to tell you something. We'll have all the information to Rock to Recovery. If you need help or you want help,
Call Hammer.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. Call Brandy. But seriously, we'll have everything right here so you can get it. And we can find our buddy Wes. And Wes, hey, thanks for coming today, man. We love you, bro.
Hey, thank you so much. And I just got to say, love you too, man. Great to see you again. We have a book out called Rock to Recovery, T.O. And it's called Music as a Catalyst for Human Transformation. And we're going to flash it on the screen right here, I'm told.
It'll be right here.
Is it here?
Yeah.
It better be here.
It is now.
Wow.
And
It's magic.
It's basically 18 vignettes of people who had incredible transformations. And by the way, our music program was part of the help that they had. But it's wounded veterans, it's sex trafficking, it's trauma, addiction, mental health. It's a book of hope. So anybody who's interested or somebody maybe out there struggling, Rock to Recovery, the book is available on Amazon.com.
Get the book, guys. Love you.